Hi, everybody. This is Kat Day, and we are here with Dominic Esposito, and our special guest is Damian Pongpanik from Jam UP Apparel. Dominic, take it away.
Damian, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Good, Dominic. How are you?
Great, great, great. Gosh, I bet some people have spoke to you, but they've never seen what you actually look like. So finally, they're going to get to put a face to a name, and that's pretty terrific.
Yeah. I'm trying to be as visible as I can. I've been putting out a lot of social media content lately and trying to use my face a little bit more.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about you and your business. I want people to get to know just a little bit of what you're doing. So why don't we just jump right into it? First, tell us the name of your company.
Jam UP Apparel.
And exactly who's been wearing Jam UP Apparel these days?
Well, I was just in Vegas and it seemed like everybody.
That's what I was building on, because it's an explosion. It's an explosion that's been happening for you.
Yeah, it really has. We started 5 years ago, and it just started. My wife's a graphic designer, and it just started as a little side project for us, because I've been working in the corporate world forever, along with playing pool. I'm a pretty decent pool player myself, and so I go to tournaments and things like that. And I told my wife, I was like, "Hey, we should design some T-shirts." And so thought of a couple things, and I was like, "Hey, when I was growing up, we always say that person plays Jam Up," and so we like, okay, well, we can work around that. And so she designed some T-shirts. I took them to a tournament, took 50 of them, and I sold out in about 45 minutes. And so I was like, okay, maybe we're onto something here. So we developed a line, and I decided to launch it. And I mean, it started out good. I've from my playing days, I used to run around with Justin Bergman and Oscar Dominguez and all that. And so, I got them to kind of help me get the word out initially, and it brought us some credibility from the beginning. And I never thought it would turn into what it turned into, what it is today, where I'm doing it full time. And it's basically like, it's just like another child of mine.
Well, it's become your full-time business. Is your wife still involved in the business with you?
Yeah, she's kind of she's not kind of, she is our graphic designer and doer of all things, IT, whatever. I mean, she's a lot smarter than I am in terms of like all the back end stuff that needs to take place. She's not a business person, so I'm kind of running the vision there of the company. I've got a business partner. He's based out of Canada. He runs one of the largest pool streams out there, Q Sports Live.
Okay.
So yeah, so together we've got a really good solid team, and just kind of like how you guys, I'm sure when Garrett started this, he didn't have all of you on his team there, and as things build, you have to really put a good team of people around you. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to grow. And
that's right. And a lot of people don't realize how much work it takes to just get off the ground. And by the time most people even begin to discover, and there you are in either a booth or promoting in some type of advertising, and they may see it for the first time, but they don't realize the years of grinding that it took you to even get to that point.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've wanted to quit probably about a dozen times. There's been a lot of blood, sweat, and lots of tears, because I mean, we're in a low margin business, and so the only way to maintain profitability is through volume. And if you don't have volume, you're not making money. And it's not a matter of maybe making money for myself personally. I mean, it is, but keeping the business afloat and keeping the business going. And
sure, what a lot of people don't realize too is you have to maintain a lot of inventory. I mean, every single design you have, there's got to be a small, extra small, medium, large, extra large, 2X large, 3X large, 4X. You've got to have so much to have just one, so that one person comes along right on the spot. They want what you've got, if you don't have it, and you need to be carrying so much just to make that one close.
Yes and no. Yes and no. So early on, when we were just doing generic designs before we got into sublimation, that was the case. You know, we had to carry all the different sizes. With sublimation, you can't go back and add names to it after the fact. So I don't know how familiar you are with sublimation, but like,
No, tell us what sublimation means. What is that?
so sublimation is it's basically the process of where you take, let's see if I can explain this as easy as I can. So you start with doing a graphic design on the computer. So like y'all take the whole layout of the shirt,
Okay.
Sleeves, arm or sleeves, body, collar, and you can print on every square inch of that. That's how we're able to put the designs together that we do, right? And so we take that, and that gets printed out onto life-size paper, special transfer paper, and that paper is laid on top of fabric, pressed in at a certain heat, and it releases dyes. And so now you have that whole design out onto the fabric. Then we take that fabric, we take it to our really specialized cutting machines, we cut out all the pieces there, and we sew it all together. And so that's how we're able to do so much custom work that we do.
So you're printing the shirt first and then sewing the shirt together.
Yeah. So that being said, is once that shirt's been made and it's been, all the design is dyed in the fabric, you can't go back in and add things to it because the design is already done. And so if I was to carry all of those different sizes of shirts there on hand, and somebody wants to add their name, which is about 80% of the people who order from us want to add their name or add a logo to that, I can't do it. So it would just be dead inventory just sitting on me. So one of the things that I've really worked on is working with a manufacturing partner to make sure that we can turn this stuff out in a quick period of time. So, you know, when we're not at our peak season, we can typically turn it out in 7 to 10 days. And sent to you. So like I said, about 80 to 85% of everything that we do is custom, has some kind of custom element to it. Someone wants to add their name, add their logo, so on and so forth. And then, you know, during our peak seasons, we're a little bit longer than that, but we try to do the best we can on moving product out the door as quick as we can.
So does somebody typically order a block of, say, 6 shirts or a dozen shirts, and with different designs, or what would the ordering process typically look like if somebody is thinking about wanting to get some good looking pool playing shirts?
So we've got a catalog. Or when I say catalog, not a hard catalog, but we've got a library of designs on our website that people can pick from. And with that, you can add your name, add a logo to that. Those are what we call quick turn items because the design and the setup is already done on those. And we're constantly adding new things. I'm getting ready to release 20 new designs in the next 90 days. So we're going to be adding to that library. And then we also offer full custom services as well. So like if somebody, they want to have something that's unique to them, you know, we offer a service there where we can design a shirt that's specific to them. We even offer logo creation, which is something that we charge by the hour for, but we do offer that. But
so basically on your digital catalog, somebody could look at the designs that you have, and then if they wanted to have their name to be a part of it, does that automatically push it into the custom design part, or is that part of the process they can do, and then that design is basically done with their name?
No, they can do that in real time right there on the website. So I've got functionality built on my website where if you want to take one of the shirts that we already have designed and type in your name on there, it will show you what it looks like there in real time.
Yeah.
I'm working on a logo upload as well. The technology there it's available. It's just very expensive, and so we're one step at a time. But we're working on digital upload there for the logo, and so once that goes into place, literally all that can get done in quick time.
You know, I'm often asked when I'm out live, people say, hey, do you have t-shirts? Do you have shirts? You know, I get a number of little things. You see, I'm wearing a drill instructor hat. I've got, you know, my shirts, you know, I've got a half a dozen little cute little things, but naturally this is something that sounds to me like people can people can actually just see if they want to buy some drill instructor shirts, and there can become a line of drill instructor shirts. Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that and not only can we make the shirts for you, but I can manage your entire store for you, so you don't have to do anything. You can just go out and teach people how to play pool.
Okay, that was the next question. You just kind of fulfilled the demand, and
Yeah,
this is going to be a great.
yeah. So
listen, people, I'm going to tell you in advance. I really have seen the quality of what Damian puts out, because naturally I just had Harold Prine here with me for the past 10 days since we went to Florida and traveling through the pool schools, and he came back to South Carolina with me, and he's wearing your shirts.
Well, Harold and I are buddies, and he lives in my town, so it's, you know, he's in the cue making business, and he wanted to promote his business, and it's
I'm going to tell you, PrineCustomCues shirts, I never saw him
not wearing
one.
It's very true.
I'm pretty certain he was wearing it to bed, although I didn't see him sleeping in it. I can only tell you, I never did not see him in not wearing one of your shirts. So, and quite an assortment of them at that. So
yeah,
I was really pretty motivated about this already, that we were going to talk.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely get you connected with Mindy on that, and she'll create you a kick-ass drill instructor design that's going to take you to that next level there, Dom. So
wow. what I need is one more level.
You'll be Jam Up.
You'll be Jam Up. That's right.
That is amazing.
One other plug that I want to make as far as our shirts go. Like we make them here in America. So
you know, that's the best plug of all. You know, I'm doing that now with my cues. I'm doing that with everything. I'm telling you, I want to make things here at home, and that's just the way people can get excited about that. And that's just a good enough reason to want to support this whole thing. I know I'm looking forward to starting to want to wear your shirts. I really am. Harold just completely won me over. I know we talked several weeks back, and you were right in the race of, tell us briefly, you're providing shirts for the Predator events and a number of things that have just exploded for you, right?
Well, yeah, it's taking off now, and it's becoming a beast of itself. So essentially, we are the apparel division for Predator now. So we're providing. Not only are we're not only the official Predator Tour sponsor, but we're actually creating a line of Predator competition wear, sportswear, you know, across the board. It's one of those things that it's going to take time, but before you know it, in a year's time from now, we're going to have an entire catalog full of Predator items that we're offering.
Great.
You know, we're for the US Pro Series and the Predator Pro Series, we're designing shirts for them. We recently just designed a shirt for you in support of Ukraine, with the Predator cat on there, and we donated 100% of not the profits, 100% of the revenue to
Ukraine.
To the United Nations Ukraine fund right there. So. And that was in partnership with Karim from Predator.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so you know, it's been one of those. It's been a journey. So with you know, with the partnership of Predator, also came, you know, opened up the doors. Now we're partnered with CSI, Q Sports International, so we're their official apparel partner for you know, the CSI leagues and BCA pool leagues. We are now the official clothing provider for the Billiards Education Foundation for the juniors. So we're doing that. We're also going to be doing the shirts for the World Games coming up this year.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's just all of these things it's just compiling. We're you know, I'm going to Germany here in June for the German Open, where JamUp is going to be the one of the event sponsors there for that. It's crazy. If you would have told me at 14 years old, if you would have told me at 14 years old when I started playing pool, that one day you're going to be like working with industry leaders there and like doing, I would have just told you you're crazy, but
Sure.
it's happening now. It's really cool. It's really fulfilling for me to do. And you know, hopefully we just continue to, you know, push the envelope and do things that, you know, create a good product for people to like. And I want to be able to take what we do and actually give back to the sport, you know. So I do that by, I do that a lot by what I do with the juniors. You know, I invest a lot into the juniors, a lot. So
Well,
anyways,
Damon, let me say, first of all, at some point here, when Kat is going to be putting your web page up, so people can see that, or whether they can get to start looking at your digital catalog. And I also want to ask also for people who maybe have their teams, and there's 5 or 8 people on a team, and they all want to start getting a better design and a matching shirt. They might even be involved in other activities that may not necessarily be in the billiard industry, but because of the quality of your design and the material you're putting out and the fact that we're making it in America, your door is really open for people to really be a part of everything you're doing and getting that apparel involved, right?
it's funny you say that because I literally just took an order for 5 softball teams.
That's what I'm
recently.
getting at. A
Yeah.
lot of our parents, their kids are playing ball, soccer, t-ball, whatever. And the quality of what we're going to have access to in the billiard world, and the way we start to see the golfers today, their wardrobes are changing and so on. This is just an opportunity for us to just push more doors open where they can come to you and deal with you one-on-one, with your wife, with the team, and get the product that that is really the one to get.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you know, there's really no limits to where we can take this. You know, right now, my focus is absolutely, I mean, it's on billiards just because it has to be. You want to hear? Do you want to hear a cool stat that I learned this last week?
Absolutely.
So you know Karim Bellage he's the CEO for Predator. He's recently my new mentor. At the players meeting there for the World 10 Ball Championship, he gave a stat, and he was talking about, or actually this was for the Predator, you know, 10 ball events where it's the split race, 2 races to 4 with a shootout there, and giving the reason behind why they're doing that. You know, they want to create excitement, they want to capture more viewers and more fans, and it's a different format. But he gave us a stat there that blew my mind.
Okay,
so how many people in the world do you think play soccer?
Play soccer, amateur? You're just saying
in general, just in general.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't even guess, but I'm gonna say 20 million.
300 million people play soccer. How many people in the world do you think play cue sports? Now, when I say cue sports, I'm talking carom, I'm talking snooker, I'm talking pool, but combined, there's 320 million people in the world who play cue sports.
Wow, that's a brand new figure that is so 7 times more than I'm used to saying.
So the difference is the fan base. You might have 300 million people who play soccer, but you have billions of people who watch it.
Yeah.
In pool or in billiards, cue sports, it's definitely not the same. So, you know, the fan base is smaller. So they're trying to grow that fan base by, you know, doing things that are a little more exciting and maybe a little more favored towards the viewer. And that's kind of like why they chose to do the format they're doing. So I know that a lot of the players don't necessarily like it, but I'll tell you what, from a fan standpoint, it's pretty exciting to watch. Have you seen the format they do?
Yes, it's very interesting. It's much faster. It with the races to 4 and then the shootouts. It's pretty exciting. Yeah.
The shootouts are really intense and fun to watch. I actually played and won, lost a shootout to Pius Labutis. He's about a 780 Fargo, and I lost to him by one shootout, by one shot.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's great. That's actually great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
anyways,
go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, is there anything more that I can tell you about the business? Do you have any of the questions for me in regards to like how we do or what we do or how we do it?
Well, actually, I think what you've given us overall has been so wonderful. I want the players to be able to see your website, get to it, look at the designs that you've already begun to make available, then take some action and go get some shirts. And even if they're only wearing one-offs on their own and they show up in that, wow, where'd you get that shirt? That looks great. You know, this is just going to start the ball rolling, and it's really going to happen. I know I sure will do it when I start wearing some drill instructor shirts that are Jam Up.
Right?
We're gonna make that happen for you, Dom. I promise.
So I think that would be pretty terrific, and I get excited about stuff like that. I really, really do. Damian, I want to say thank you for the time. First of all, more than anything, the great contribution that you're bringing to the industry, you and your wife together, and that is the best news. I know my wife, my background, she has the entire back office business of the drill instructor, and I could not be out front doing what I do without her. So
yeah,
total compliments to you and your wife as a team and the whole team you are building. So the Jam Up team is definitely growing, and for those of you who have been hearing any of this, I can tell you right now, get to that website, look it over, just buy one shirt. I guarantee you, you're going to get hooked, because after I saw what Harold was wearing for the last 10 days with me, I'll tell you, I was getting jealous. If I hadn't already lost 100 pounds, I could fit into his shirts, and I possibly could have taken one or two from him easily, but I'm waiting now till I get my own.
well, you message me after this interview and I'll get you squared up with something.
Yeah, we might need a couple of Sneaky Pete shirts too. One for me.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get all the sponsors. I think my sponsor list would go completely on this arm. And
hey, just take a look at April Larson, the shirts I do for her. She's got about 30.
Great.
She got about 30 billion sponsor logos on those shirts.
I know. I interviewed her about 6 months ago, something like that, and she told me all her sponsors and how you get all of them on her shirts, and it was great.
I can't fit them all on there.
No. If she had to do it in patches, her shirt probably weighs about 3 pounds.
I'm not a fan of the patches, but anyways.
Yeah, good. Damian, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been really fun to spend this time with you. And I am looking forward to players getting to enjoy that product in their hands from you. Thanks. God bless you. And we're glad that you were on Sneaky Pete Mafia with us. Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break right now. We'll be back with Mr. Harold Prine.
And that was Fort Worth Billiards. And here we have Harold Prine with us from PrineCustomCues. And Dominic, go ahead and talk to Harold.
Mr. Harold Prine, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Dom. How are you?
Excellent. Good. We're so glad you could cut a little bit of time out of your schedule and join us. You know, we just finished with Damian from Jam UP Apparel, and he is right in their area with you. You know him well too, don't you?
Yeah. Me and Damian are friends. I actually have some of his products. So yeah, I do all of his, cue repair and stuff for him too. So.
Oh, that's great. And pretty soon I will be wearing the Jam UP look coming soon, because I think his product has a great quality and I want to support and endorse that as well. So Mr. Harold Prine, PrineCustomCues, Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited and so proud. This time, Harold was on one side with me as we were in an interview previous to this, but now he's on the flip side because we really want you to have a little bit more of an opportunity to meet him personally and learn so much more about just exactly what is going on in that magical shop of his. But first things first, Harold, how did you get started in the cue making business? Just give us a little bit of history for everybody, please.
Well, I don't know, it started, I was your typical pool player that liked high-end cues, higher-end custom cues. I always found the beauty in the work, the detail in the cues. And then over the years, I just slowly increased my knowledge on, repairing cues and how the proper ways to build, because there are a lot of different ways to assemble a pool cue. And over the years, I come up with what I felt was the best of what different ways I come across and put them all together to make what I make now.
That's wonderful. I think the one little part in your explanation, for the sake of letting some people think about the idea of twiddling around, but it really was at a pool instructor school that you and I first had, or you had your first experience, because I always make it a point to teach people who are going to become pool instructors. I like to take the time to make sure that they know some of the basic fundamental steps of how to work on a cue lathe, how to put a tip or replace a ferrule, or take some of the dings out of a shaft. Was that really your first time experiencing working on a cue lathe when we did that?
It wasn't the first time I've been around it, but I mean, what you gave me was a definite, starting point. It just expanded my knowledge. Before that was very little. And,
Okay.
now I've worked hard at building my reputation, and I work on a lot of the top players in the Northwest. I work on their cues.
Wow.
They trust me to bring me their stuff and work on it.
So Harold, tell us a little bit about how you have evolved into building a shop, and give us sort of a picture that some picture words that we can get an impression of from just learning how to replace tips and ferrules and shaft cleaning. How did it evolve step by step into what it looks like today?
Well, it's I guess it was more by the more confidence a person gets. If you can do the tips and you do a good job and you do expansion and start doing other things, and then you start building shafts and changing joint rings for people and replacing a butt cap on a cue that they broke, or just different things, change a pin out on a cue that from one type of a joint to another. You take that and you take all that knowledge and confidence that you start to get, and it slowly, at least in my case, turned into, okay, I can do this. And so I started out, building a cue. The cue finish is probably the hardest part about building. So I bought a couple blanks that were already kind of pre-made. I put rings on them and I put finished work on them.
Okay.
By the time you do the clear coat, that first one took me a long time.
So one of the things I want this interview to do is both give pool players an attraction to you as a cue maker, but also the possibility of realizing what behind the scene, whether it's for their own hobbyist interests or in terms of trusting you. What you're saying is you were doing lots of small mechanical parts from replacing tips to ferrules and to shaft cleaning. And then you began fixing some butt rings and caps and joints. And so little by little, these are all small component parts of fixing cues. And from your confidence level, that is where you felt, I want to try more. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to start out small. And, you know, I mean, if a person just grabs some wood and tries to build a cue, you might get it built, but the product that you're going to make may not be the quality that you want.
Okay, so what was the first cue lathe that you bought? What did you buy?
I've always had the high tower lathes.
Okay,
like
Chris.
them.
Yeah, Chris Hightower. Chris makes tremendous products, and those are the same ones that I use as well. But so you and
Exactly.
Chris have a great relationship now.
Yeah, I've got 3 of his lathes plus a big metal lathe, a big end mill, and then I have a big CNC that we did too.
Wow. Okay, and I know now with the engraving and things that we do on the product, this is really exciting. I want everybody to know that years ago, when I saw the image of what was happening to Harold and his enthusiasm to learn more about cue making, I can remember I was in Minnesota. I was having a conversation with him, and it was at that point and it was my way of trying to be encouraging to him to get started. And I can't tell you how proud I am, because you are really the textbook case of giving you the opportunity to get something started, and you've turned it into the full blown picture. But I did say to Harold at that time, I'll be patient. You don't have to rush. But one of these days, I want to stop making my cues in China. I want them made in America. And if you're the one who is ready to do it, if you're capable of doing it, I'll wait until you can do it. And I'm so excited that you and we actually do have that relationship now. And I'm really proud of you for that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so am I.
I'd like to talk for a moment about what we do with, you know, I have shared even in tonight's clinic that's coming up, you know, I'm explaining to the pool players this idea of the cue shaft deflection. There is some terminology that should be understood so that players get this. And of course, the cue ball squirts left or right when you put English on the cue ball. And the shaft has a deflection factor. And for marketing purposes, so many cue makers try to use the expression of saying low deflection. And it could be misleading, but when we clear the deck, one of the things that you and I did from the very beginning was you did play with the cap shaft. That was the wood version of what we do now with carbon fiber. Can you just tell the players a little bit from your experience as a custom cue maker, what it is that we're saying in regard to zero deflection performance tapering? And why is this something that you're doing that's so special that we do together by your handcrafty work, your craftsmanship, and with our design minds together? Just basically what is happening for us. And by the way, I recognize that there is some of what we do that is very proprietary. So to the extent that you feel comfortable, I'd like you to share with the players just why the Optimus carbon fiber shaft is really so good, and tell us about some of the players that are using them and the impressions that you're getting, because you're getting the feedback directly. Please share this now.
Well, yeah, I don't want to get into the construction of the Optimus, but
that's fair.
As far as how the shaft plays, yeah, I mean, as well as you know, if you aim at center on the cue ball to whatever point you want to hit on your object ball. It's no, and then, you know, you pivot to your English, it's going to go to that point that you aimed originally. As long as you do that beginning step properly, you're going to hit where you aim. It doesn't matter if you put 3 tips of English on it or if you put 1 tip of English on it.
And that's really remarkable. Talk about some of the feedback you're getting from the players, because they are directly communicating with you.
Well, I always get positive feedback with the shafts. I've been told by a lot of players, including some top level pros, that, you know, the shaft is one of the best shafts on the market. It has as low a deflection as any shaft out there, but also it has a better feel in the backhand. It feels, you know, closer to a wood shaft, because a lot of guys, they miss the feel of the wood shaft when, you know, you hit the ball. They don't want the sound and the different feel from the carbon. And with the products or the materials that I use to construct mine, they say it has a better feel.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, you're making a line of custom cues. Just to date, can we give the players a little bit of a chronology? When was it that you actually started making your very first cue?
It was probably 2.5 years ago. I made
Okay.
my first cue from, you know, pieces of square wood,
Okay.
turned them around, and assembled my very first cue.
So from
And
2.5
I
years
still have that
ago,
cue to date.
so from 2.5 years ago, now to date, how many custom cues have you made that either people purchased from you, or maybe you gave some as gifts, but they were still the quality of something you would sell? How many actual finished cues now have you produced?
In the last 2 years, I don't know, I've probably finished, I would say 50, probably 50 to 60.
50 to 60 individual custom finished cues. Wow. That's a big number. So that's a rate of about 2 a month on an average, although you probably have several working at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah, they're in different stages. I try to build, you know, in groups of 4 or 5.
Okay.
Right
What are the
now,
stages? Harold, just tell us what, if you could share within reason of what you can share, what are the stages that a cue goes
well,
through to be deliverable?
once the wood is turned and cored, you know, then I let it hang for a little while, and then once it's assembled, and I have a full turn down the whole cue, then it's oversized, but it looks like a pull cue. And at that point, it hangs, and I just slowly turn it every couple weeks or every month. I'll take a little bit more off of it until I get it down to where it needs to be to finish the product.
Why is there such a gap in turning it down? I don't know that players really understand.
It's about moisture.
Say-
The moisture content in the wood needs to be, you know, below, you want it below 5%.
Okay, so what you're actually doing is you're constantly temperature correcting and then cutting to the point. Well, what would happen if you rushed and just
Well, the
did it
wood
too fast?
the wood could warp, your cue could bow, things expand. I mean, there's a lot of different things that could happen.
So
I just know you don't
realistically,
want that
realistically, what
moisture
is
in
the
the
waiting?
wood, and the moisture
Okay.
in a piece of wood, it's going to have more moisture the closer to the center of the wood that you go.
Okay.
So at that point of turning the cue, you know, every time you take 20 thousandths of an inch off of the outside of it, you're going to have a little more moisture. So by letting it stabilize and climatize, you know, in a slow process, it produces a better product. If you rush things, you're going to have issues.
Okay, so realistically, what can a pool player expect if today they decided, yeah, I want Harold Prine to build me a cue? What's realistically the window of when that cue should be, in your opinion, ready to be delivered? Timeline.
If it's wood that I have that is ready to go and it's already either turned around or the moisture content, even though it's square, is real low, you're looking at 3 to 4 months. I can have that cue done. If it's wood that I have that is high on moisture, then I need to get that turned down, and start to stabilize. That could take longer. That could take 6 months or longer.
Okay.
It just depends on that wood.
So when somebody sees you at a show and you will carry some of your cues with you, from the time that they actually get to see that cue, as you're saying, could have been anywhere from a 4 to 6 month process before it actually made your pool bag to bring it out.
Correct.
Wow.
Okay. And that's why I build them in groups. Right now I have 2 orders and I'm working on those cues, but I'm not just building those 2. I'm actually building 6 cues. So that way those other cues will sell. Once they're done, I don't have a problem selling the cues. It always seems like if I get something built, because there's always those people that want the cue now. They want to be able to put their hands on it and buy it now. They don't want to wait that 90 days or longer.
Mm-hmm. So you have some designs that you've created on your own so that you do have some cues with you and somebody right on the spot can say, I just want to buy that.
Yes, I try to. I sell out quite often. So it's hard to keep that inventory going. But
okay. But on the other hand, if a player could come to you with a vision of their own design in mind, and then you could discuss that with them, what it would take for them to have that custom design made.
Exactly. That's the whole term of custom.
Okay.
I try not to build the same thing over and over and over. And I try to always put different things in it. I don't want a bunch of the same cues out there that I've built. I want them all different.
I think the only thing you would probably want repeatedly over and over again is an excellent product, a very happy customer, and somebody bragging and sharing it with others so that they can check it out too. You certainly would want that over and over and over.
Oh yes, 100%. And on my website, it's full of reviews. I've gotten all kinds of reviews from different levels of players that absolutely love my products.
So we could talk about that for a moment. Your webpage, you have one up now, and it may be going through some transformational processes in the future soon. But the PrineCustomCues, PrineCustomCues.com. That's Prine, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there's something I want to ask you. You grew up all your life with a nickname. And when you came out with the name and we talked about what we wanted to call this shaft, you came out with the idea of a unique name. Tell the people a little bit about why it's called the Optimus shaft and where that comes from, because that was kind of a lifetime thing for you.
Well, just when I was younger, I had a nickname of Optimus because of my last name. And then that kind of went away when I was, in the teenage years and all that. But then my friends that I play pool with here, we were talking about it after I built the very first one. and we were all hitting it and, you know, just basically dissecting it. Do we like it? What don't we like about it? Blah, blah, blah. And one of them said, you know, you should call it the Optimus. And I was like, it brought back all those old memories. And so it was like, you know what? That's what it's going to be. And that's why when me and you started talking, I was so against changing the name of it. I was not going to change the name of it.
Yeah, it was great. It actually, in fact, you had to teach that whole story to me, because with your name being Prine versus Prime, and Optimus Prime being one of the, you know, leading Transformer superstars, it just does make perfect sense. It really does. It really does. It is truly the winner of a name. So we also build the Moab 1 breaking cue, and we also build the jumping cue, the Elevate, and both of those, as you were an original owner and player with the M1A1 playing cue and the G10 Assault breaking cue and the G5 launcher jumping cue. And now, except for the possibility of a couple of M1A1s, the rest of those are all, the G10 and the G5, they're all gone, and you are producing all of those now. How do you feel about being able to do that, Harold?
Oh, I feel good. I feel, I mean, I hear it every day that I'm in town at the pool hall. There's always somebody coming up about, you know, the breaking cue. I hit with so-and-sos and I absolutely love it. I got to save up some money. I need one. Or the jump cue, you know, it's like, you know, I have our top player in our area who is, you know, playing the Predator Pro events and everything else. He has the break cue and the jump cue. He says it's like cheating. You know, the jump cue jumps so well. I'll put it against anything on the market. I mean, it's the real deal.
It is, you know, my policy, and this is why we get along so well. It either has to be the #1 performance product out there. I will use it, or I would use it, or we just won't have anything about it. And the G5 launcher jump cue went 8 full years, and the G10 Assault break cue 6 full years. The #1 performance, that means the total range of all the types of shots that can be made with it. That breaking cue system and that jumping system outperformed absolutely everything in the industry. And of course, I have pretty much everything that's out there to compare it by. So really, you have put such a tremendous effort into becoming such a, I would say, in the amount of time you've been producing cues, you are exceptionally talented and skilled at this, more than somebody who might have taken much longer to get there. And I'm just kind of really nuts about that. Do you have any one of your cues handy right there that you can hold one up and show us?
I don't. I'm in the house.
I do.
I'm not in the shop. You have one, yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you, this is, I have to brag for you just a little bit, if you don't mind, because I'm insanely nuts. This is just an example of what, could you tell us what's on this thing? What is this?
It's the butt sleeve and the forearm are Bacote, and then it's a curly maple handle. And that style of cue is called a Merry Widow. There's no points in it. It's just you show off the pretty woods. Sometimes you get some wood that is just really pretty, and you don't want to cut it all up by putting points and stuff into it. You know, it's really, you make a Merry Widow out of it, and they're beautiful cues.
A Merry Widow. What a name is that?
Yeah, I don't know where it came from,
The only
but that's
married
what they
widows
call
I've
them.
ever met is because their husband had a big fat giant life insurance policy. And I guess you marry me widow. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway. I'm sorry, stop. I am not the funniest guy out there. But anyway, Mr. Harold Prine, PrineCustomCues. We are business partners, and I'm very proud of that, Harold. But your contribution to the billiard industry now is as an oak tree planted that will bloom into an immense and enormous view for so many people of the future to see. This is the earliest days. I mean, just imagine the years ago when there was a Belbushka and when there was an original cue that by the name of its maker, you are in that early stage. And people, this is an early day where we're years into the future from now. These will be cues that will be very well sought after. And I think that's sensational. Harold, I'm so grateful you took the time to be with us today. And can people just call you directly, or do you prefer they just go through the website?
No, they can call. I answer my phone no matter what number it is. If I'm by my phone and I can hear my phone, I answer it. If someone leaves a message, I call them back.
And then they can talk to you about a range within their budget of what they would hope to
100%.
spend. And then between all of that custom discussion of what can they spend, what would they like it to look like, and the timetables, it's just a fully fitted operation for you. And then at that point, do you maintain a relationship with these people after you've delivered their cue?
Yes, I generally always have a follow-up. You know, I've called a lot of my people that have bought cues in Florida and South Carolina and Kentucky. They you know, I always contact them and find out, you know, how's the cue? How do you like the cue? Because if there's anything negative, I want to know about it.
Sure.
You know, I've worked really hard to build the reputation that I have, and you know, I get it a lot that, you know, people are just grateful that I answer the phone, that they don't have to chase me down. I'm always available, and I'll talk to, you know, a person and let them know when we do a custom cue order. You know, I try to make it affordable for somebody. You know, I do a 50% down, 50% deposit to get the cue going, and then the other 50% is on completion.
Good.
That way, you know, it breaks it up for the person, but also it shows an incentive that they're serious about the cue. And, you know, then once I complete it, I take pictures of it, and they send me the money, and I send them the cue, and it's worked out great. And most of the people that actually buy stuff from me, they're return customers. I mean, they come back, or they have friends, referrals, you know, hey, John bought a cue from you. I really love it. I want one now. So that word of mouth is so large that, you know, you can't say enough about it.
So I'd guess you're not standing around in your shop wondering what you could do next very much. You're probably very busy, aren't you?
There's every day that I'm in the shop, there's always something to do.
Okay. Everybody, this is Mr. Harold Prine, and I cannot encourage you enough, even if you need just some basic cue repair, you want to call Harold. If you want to just have an open discussion with him, I invite you from the drill instructor as part of the drill team, which we are. And for your personal cue needs, I would say to you that you want to contact Mr. Harold Prine. Start out by going to PrineCustomCues.com, and you can get his phone number right there. Look at a lot of the videos and the gallery of photographs, and look at some of the most amazing work that he has already put together. And Mr. Prine, once again, thank you for your time and consideration to be part of the Sneaky Pete Mafia program. And I'm honored that I got to bring this out with you in the interview. Kat, take it away and close us out.
All righty. Thank you, Harold.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Dom.
Yes.
And we'll see y'all on the next show.
Amen.